Welcome to the Entrepreneur Spouse Support Broadcast, a weekly 15-minute broadcast with your host, Joanie Winberg. Learn how to work, love, and survive life with an entrepreneur. Our special guests will be sharing tips, tools, and their success stories to help support entrepreneur spouses and their families. And now here's Joanie.
Welcome to the Entrepreneur Spouse Support Broadcast, how to work, love, and survive life with an entrepreneur. As I say, how to keep that relationship together and stronger than ever. Hi, it's Joanie Winberg, facilitator of the Entrepreneur Spouse Support Program, which is divorce-proofing your marriage, and also host of this show. Today, we're going to address the question, and this is for all entrepreneurs. We're going to address the question, is your credit and debt keeping you awake at night? We have a very special guest to address this question. Her name is Jeanne Kelly. She's a credit coach, an author, and a speaker. Jeanne, join us, unmute yourself. Love to have you on board here.
Hi, thanks for having me, Joanie.
Oh, just thrilled to have you here. And I know you've worked with hundreds of people, entrepreneurs and people in general, with their credit and their debt. Can you share with us any kind of a struggle that you've seen or a common theme that you've seen for people or entrepreneurs of what they go through when it comes to credit and debt?
Well, definitely when you own your own business, you're using your personal credit to start off that business. So I've seen a lot of struggles with people obtaining high credit cards and using that to open the business, and just not understanding how to build business credit and also use your personal, because again, in the beginning you have to, and it does keep you up at night, just exactly like you said, because not only the business that you just opened or are continuing to work with, but it's also your personal credit. So a lot is at risk, and you can simplify that by being aware of what's being reported about you on your credit report. Just begin with that, and it can really help you put a plan together to make things go smoother.
And I'm sure people say, okay, just one more credit card that I'll open up, or maybe one more relative I'll go and talk to about loaning me money. But is that something you also hear? One more card, I'll just do one more card and I'll be on top of it?
Absolutely. All the times, because, we are trying to build a business, and if you can't get a loan, you're just racking up that credit card debt, which again, even the loans, loan after loan, whether it's through a family friend, whether it is through a bank, the interest is better on that than a credit card, but it is always that one more. And how do you put a plan together that if it is one more, it really is one more, and being on page with your business partner or your spouse or whoever of what debt is really out there and how you're going to build it, build your business and lower that debt. That's the goal.
Definitely. And I know with entrepreneurs, we've all been there where you're 100% all in, you're excited about your vision, your dream, you want it to be successful. And it's like, okay, this is going to make it one more time around the corner. This is going to be it. And so one more credit card won't hurt, or that type of thing. Do you find that sometimes entrepreneurs, and I think it's just because we so love our dream, might not always share that with their spouse, or they're just trying to keep it quiet until they can get on their feet, which is not intentional, I'm sure. But
yeah, absolutely. It does happen because let's say you and your spouse said, we'll do this much. And then if we get too much into debt, let's stop. And when you do have that dream and that goal, and like you're saying, Joanie, just one more card, you're not doing it thinking there's not going to be success at the end. So it is hard. And that's why I always say with your spouse, you can't hide from a credit report. So that's the beauty of sitting down with your spouse to pull your credit reports together so you can see together what really is outstanding. Because sometimes it's a horrible thing, but someone could open up a P.O. box or at the mailbox store, for business mail, and then you're not seeing those accounts not getting paid or new accounts being opened. So if you're on page at least quarterly, looking at credit reports together, then there's really no hiding when it comes to debt that way. Obviously, if someone gets a personal family relative loan, that's different. But as far as your credit goes, that's the way to stay on top of each other. And it really is hard. And that's why, Joanie, one of my favorite books I found after owning my business for years, and I found it about a year or two ago, The Power of Broke, by Damon John. I love that book because it reminds me of when I started. And I always say I was broker than broke. I couldn't have even gotten credit cards. I had a bad credit, and I, was going through a divorce when I opened up my company. So I was already at rock bottom. So there was no way but crawling out of it and opening up this company and putting a plan together, being broke and not getting in more debt. And, you can do it. I highly suggest that book, but you can do it. It's just, you got to hustle harder and think smarter, and be creative with funding. It's really important to not keep going into a lot of debt. You don't need the perfect website. I look at brochures I gave the first year in business. They're embarrassing. I'm like, I can't believe people gave me business. But, you have to do what you can do. Mm-hmm. And, that's all I could do at the time. And thank goodness my presentation and, what I said I could do was, I accomplished that in the presentation. So sometimes you have to cut corners and do things inexpensive and creatively that way, and
absolutely.
It really is something. Yeah.
So it's what I'm hearing is definitely communicate. And I always, because I'm on the human behavior side, I always say to the spouses and the entrepreneurs, you can read the body language, you can see the stress. And this is where I come in, where I help the entrepreneurs communicate better, read the signs, be able to support each other without being at each other's throat. And that's my end of the piece, so that they can continue with their dreams. And divorces, we've both been there, and that's certainly what I try to help people avoid.
Right. So, that's awesome to have someone when you're building this business, whether it's your full-time job or if you're working on it on the side. It's an amazing thing to have someone like you, Joanie, to go to keep things real, and you keep motivating that person, but also just, like I said, keeping it real, being realistic about things and helping them move forward. And having this is perfect. Like talking about the credit, like something people don't think about. Look at that credit report. You look at that credit report, and one of the myths is when you look at it, it'll drop your credit score. But that's not true if you're looking at your own credit report. It will not hurt your score, and it's a healthy thing to do.
And there's so many things now that are available that say, check your score free. Is that?
Yes, there are things like that. I always and definitely the more places, that's fine, but know who you're doing business with. If it says free, but who is this company that you're giving your personal data to? So I like annualcreditreport.com. All three bureaus sponsor that site. You can get your credit report for free on that site. So you could check in with one month and wait a few months, get the next free one, wait a few months, get the next. And it's directly from each credit bureau, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. It's just one site. Won't hurt your credit score, but you won't get a credit score with it. But I always say it's more important what's on your report than worrying about that score so much. If you see a lot of bad stuff, the score is going to be bad. Otherwise, don't worry so much about the score. And know that there's so many scores out there anyway. People get so confused when they're going for business loan. And they're like, I just looked at my credit score on whatever site and it was a 700. What do you mean it's only a 620? And that's because 90% of lenders use the FICO score. So if you're not looking at your FICO score, you're really looking at a score that no one else is seeing but you. So pay attention to that. 90% of lenders use FICO.
That's really good information. A lot of people, I'm sure, don't realize that. And also, when you're talking about a couple sitting down, you're talking about each of them pulling their own credit report and looking at each other's together.
Yeah, if you are a couple, it's one of those things. If you're doing financing together, if you're buying a house together, a business together, we look maybe at our taxes together, our bank statements together, but a lot of times people overlook the credit report. And that's a big financial key, because I've heard people ready to get married and were shocked because there was so much money maybe in a bank account, but didn't know the credit score was very low. So you have to that is part of the financial package. And this way, when you're looking at it, there's no fear. You're both on the same page, and you're both seeing what debt is out there. Has it been paid on time? And also, Joanie, surprisingly, I've been in this business over 18 years. I have never seen a credit report without a mistake. So you really have to get in the habit of looking at it with that highlighter and highlight anything that doesn't make sense to you, even if it's an address, anything that is incorrect. You want to make sure it's accurate information, and only you can really know what's supposed to be on there and what's not. So I love those monitoring and protection services more than anyone. I love it, but still your eyes have to look at, don't be lazy about it. You still need to look yourself at your credit reports.
Because I know you and your husband do that together.
Yes. Yeah, this way it just makes it easy. There's no hiding anything. Here's what I did, whether it's shopping that I might not have supposed, whatever it may be. But when you're looking at it, then we both know, because our finances, it's important. And this way I know, okay, how much, did he use credit cards for things that I just didn't even know about? We're on the same page. There's no hiding from the credit report. That's why I say that. You can hide a credit card bill, but once that you're looking at the report, it's all there. So,
and I think that's a strong basis for marriage right there. Jeannie, I'd love to have people be able to contact you as a credit coach because they probably have more questions or maybe need your great support. So what would be a good website or contact info?
So they can go to my website, JeannieKelly.net. And also my phone number here is 866-283-8818.
And you're spelling that Jeannie with 2 N's, correct?
Yep. So Jeanne, Kelly. No EY.
Okay, perfect. Jeannie, as always, it's great to have you on the show to help all the entrepreneurs out there and couples stay happily married. And I always appreciate your time.
Thank you, Joanie. Thanks so much.
And also to the listeners, this is actually going to be something you can go back and listen to over again. Jeannie gave such great tips throughout this whole time. So go. It'll actually be a YouTube video for you. And you can also reach me through EntrepreneurSpouseSupport.com website, and that talks more about our program as well. So thanks so much for tuning in. In the meantime, we'll see you next week.